Hello.
Hello. Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Sara,
And Jordan.
and this is episode 2 of Coffee, Wine, and True Crime.
That's us.
So, Jordan, you don't look like you're drinking a coffee or wine.
I am not. So we had technical difficulties getting Zoom to work because we are social distancing like good people. And I didn't want to brew coffee and like take the time to away from like making Sara wait further. So I just grabbed a soda. So that's what we're working with today. It is Coca-Cola vanilla. So in a can. So
I am drinking wine out of a rocks glass because I'm really short and the wine glasses are out of my reach. But
it's
this glass
1:20 p.m.
wasn't.
on a Sunday.
Shut up. Trying to make this. I didn't want to brew coffee.
Me. At
So
least we had the same thing happen. We both were too lazy to brew coffee.
yeah. Also, I've already had coffee today, so I didn't really want another cup. But yeah. So this is a Riesling my mom had in the fridge. I can tell it's a nicer bottle because it doesn't taste like my normal $5 wine.
Love
So
gas
yeah,
station wine.
it's hey, don't hate. I lived next to a gas station for 2 years, so yes, we did buy alcohol from them.
Absolutely.
So yeah. So how was your week?
It was good. So I started my life working as like a full-time adult. And I'm pretty tired. I'm okay. I'm not like dead. It's mainly just like adjusting to the heat right now. Like because it for a
Yeah,
while
it's
it
been
was really
hot.
like and like for a while it was you didn't know whether or not it was gonna be cold or hot. Oh, I work outside, by the way, for people who don't know, I work with horses. So it's there was that awkward adjustment period where it was like cold one day, hot the next, and then all of a sudden it just became super hot all the time, and it just sucks. But it's okay. How
Yeah.
was your week?
Good. I'm starting to see a little light at the end of the tunnel for this job searching thing.
Ooh.
So that's always exciting. So yeah, I mean, hopefully I'll have a job within the next month. First off, I'd like to say that we have more listeners than we have friends.
That is so true. I
Um,
have 5 friends.
yeah, basically me too. So just on Anchor and Spotify, we finally got on Spotify.
Ooh.
We have 17 listeners. And then we
Yeah.
have like 30 views on YouTube.
That's great.
So you want to hear all the states they're from and shout them
Ooh,
out?
yes.
Virginia, so probably people may know. Illinois, I don't know anyone in Illinois right
I
now that
don't
I don't
I don't
think
I
of.
don't know. Hello.
Minnesota, hey Kate and Ellie. Just gonna call them out. Mississippi, I don't know anyone in Mississippi.
Me neither.
Tennessee,
Taylor Swift, I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. Hawaii, I definitely don't know anyone in
I do
Hawaii.
not. There's a skincare YouTuber I follow called Skincare by Hiram. He's like almost 2 million subscribers. He lives in Hawaii, which is
Uh,
cool. And that's about
DC,
it.
DC,
I don't think I know anyone who lives like in the city,
I don't either.
but
Nebraska,
that's your friends for
my
sure.
friends, yeah. Arizona, hey Brittany.
Hi, Brittany.
And Louisiana, I don't know anyone down there.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so also I'd like to shout out my friend Brittany. When I told her I was starting a podcast, she graciously offered to run all our social media for us. So
Yes.
she's been doing a great job on that, and I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to publicly thank her.
Yes.
Um,
Big public thank you to Brittany.
yeah, so I'm in the loop on the social media stuff. I check it regularly. If someone like DMs us or messages us or it's something like pretty important, she'll just be like, "Hey, you need to like go on." But for the everyday stuff, she does run it, but if it's something like a direct message or something, I'll go in and take care of
Mm-hmm.
it. So
Yeah. And just because like, I'm still working right now, and I should add like my job is all like we all are social distanced all the time. Like it's a farm, so it's like just in case anyone is concerned about that. Um, so I'm just gone for a super long part of the day. Um, And then I'm pretty tired, so I don't go on social media too often during the week. But I do check up when I can, and then on the weekends, I'm a lot more active as well.
Yeah, and
So
I'm not like the greatest like social media like person.
yeah,
I'll post stuff, but and everything and run my own accounts, but like for business kind of business stuff, I'm not like the best at. But
yeah,
Brittany,
like it's
Brittany's a
weird to
lot
not.
Brittany's a lot better at it, so we've given her the reins on that. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, because it's weird to like to tweet something, but not as if it's you.
Yeah, and what I've been doing on Twitter is I'll go in with my personal and thank people and stuff too. So,
Yeah, that's smart.
all right, I think that's enough business. So,
Wait, but we have a listener in Mississippi, and that was one of the states from last week.
true,
So
yeah,
possible connection?
possible connection.
Question mark? Question mark?
So, I went first last time, and I know you're really excited about your case this week. So, yeah, she's dancing. She's
I'm so excited.
So, do you want to go?
Sure, I'll go. So my case is I have like my notes on my phone up against my laptop right now. So my state this week is Alaska because I have a theory, and this is probably just because of the most recent season of American Horror Story, but I kind of think that most people who live in Alaska, like you have either lived there for like your family's lived there for generations, or like you're running from something, like you're from something and you're trying to like get away. You know what I mean? Like that's where people, that's where I associate Alaska with. So I was like, I'm going to find a crazy, crazy crime murderer person from Alaska. And boy, did I find. Today we are talking about the Butcher Baker.
I might have heard this on a different podcast, but I can't fully remember because
Dang
every
it,
Alaska.
Sarah.
Well, listen. Every Alaska case I've heard is just like so crazy. So I mean, I feel like I've heard it, but I also might have not. So
Well,
so I'm excited.
Well, there is a movie about this serial killer
Okay, well,
called
you know
Frozen
what?
Ground.
I don't watch movies. You know
No, I
that.
know. I'm just saying so that everyone knows. Like, there is a movie. The man's name is Robert Hansen. Um, yeah. So I didn't just before I get into it. I didn't know about this case. I knew like the concept of his MO is something that I was familiar with, and that doesn't really make sense right now. But like as I get into it, you'll understand what I'm saying. Um, but it apparently is like really well known, so people may know about it, and I just didn't pay enough attention to Alaska. But all right, I'm gonna get into it. So Robert Hansen was born on February 15th, 1939 in Ethersville, Iowa.
Ew. I'm sorry.
That's so mean.
I'm sorry. It's a Nebraska thing. I can't help it.
So he had a really rough childhood. His dad was really like disciplinary, super on top of him all the time, super strict. And from a very young age, he was a really good hunter. Like him and his dad, like that was part of why his dad was so strict. Like he would make him go into the woods with him and like hunt all the time, like just all the time being hunting, like in the isolation with like nature and animals.
Wow,
And
because there's nothing else to do in Iowa. Okay, I'm done with the Iowa jokes. I'm sorry if we have any listeners in Iowa, but I lived in Nebraska for 4 years, so you understand where I'm coming from.
so, and then like just an example of like how far this guy's dad would go. Robert Hansen was born left-handed, and his dad forced him to use his right hand. And like this is like, and I know people did that. Like that's a thing. I'm pretty sure like I've heard of teachers like smacking students with meter sticks and making them write
Yeah.
with their right hands, like back in the day. And basically the fact that his dad made him do this caused him to have a stutter. So as he got older, he had severe acne and a stutter, and that led to like a lot of bullying for him. So he did not have an easy time in school. In addition to having acne and a stutter and being bullied, not to go along with all of that, he also was rejected by a lot of girls, mainly obviously the more attractive girls in the school. They didn't, they weren't particularly nice to him. And then this started him being super focused on the idea of revenge and like getting back at people who've wronged him. So in 1957, he joined the Army Reserves and served for a year. and was honorably discharged. And then he married his first wife in 1960. And then his crimes kind of start here. It starts off, this is not small, but for him, this is small, so just brace yourself. He was arrested in 1960 for burning down a school bus garage.
So from what I've heard from his childhood and everything, he's kind of having classic serial killer MOs growing up and then burning stuff down, even though he was an adult.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was like the board of education for this town, like, you know, where they house like all the school buses when they're not being used. He just burned the whole thing down.
What
so
a
I feel
statement
like
against education.
exactly, or like against the system that like he felt wronged him. So then when he was arrested, he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and as well as being diagnosed with having schizophrenic episodes. And the professionals there said that he also had an infantile personality and was obsessed with revenge. So that's another thing that keeps coming back up. And then his first wife filed for divorce while he was incarcerated for this, what's it called? Arson. Thank you. To myself. So then after he got out, he was jailed a few times for petty theft, but nothing too serious. And then he married his second wife and moved to Anchorage, Alaska, where he became a seemingly unproblematic banker and even won hunting awards out there because it's Alaska, a lot of wilderness, lots of hunting. He was good at it. So he had like a shelf of all his awards for hunting.
Okay.
So seems, you know, to most people like an average guy. While in Alaska, he was also convicted of assault. I couldn't find that much on this one, but then he appealed his conviction and got off on time served from the Alaska Supreme Court. So because I couldn't find it a lot, I would assume it's not anything. I would assume it's like a bar fight or just something kind of
nothing too major.
Yeah, nothing very problematic, especially in comparison to everything else. So this is where we get into it. June 13th, 1983, Cindy Polson was found running on a highway handcuffed by a driver who she flagged down, and she asked him to take her to the Mush Inn, where authorities were eventually called. And by that time, she had like gone to another hotel and gotten a room, so they like asked around for her, found her, and sitting in her hotel room, still like all disheveled in handcuffs. So they took her down and began to question her. So her story is that Hansen offered her $200 to perform oral sex on her. And when she got in the car, he pulled a gun on her and drove him to his house where he tortured and sexually assaulted her. He also chained her by the neck to a post in the basement and took a nap nearby on the couch.
No.
No, Sarah. Oh no, we're not even.
God damn it.
This is a tip of the iceberg. Get it? Alaska joke, kind of. Ice, I don't know, cold. When he woke up, he told her he was taking her to his cabin. So he had her crouch in the backseat of the car with their hands handcuffed in front of her, like crouched down. And when they got to the airport, he got out and was loading the cabin, like the cockpit of the plane. He had like a small, you know, like people in Alaska have.
Yeah, they all have planes
to go
because
different.
you can't. There's no roads.
Yeah, so there's just like, it was one of those, you know, the type of plane I'm talking about. There's a name for
Little
it.
plane that can go on water.
Yes, those. Okay. And while he was doing that, she was able to climb up into the driver's side door and get out and then run to 6th Avenue. And that's where she stopped the driver. So Hansen matched the description of the person that she described. And he had a plane and he had a criminal past, but he had a strong, I'm doing air quotes to Sarah right now, strong alibi.
Of course he did. They all do.
And there was supposedly another person who like backed him up and was like, oh, I was with him the whole day or something.
Okay.
So then they thought, oh, he has a strong alibi. He seems like a nice little quiet baker. So the case eventually went cold. Now, Detective Glenn Floth from the Alaskan State Troopers had been assigned to start investigating the discovery of several bodies near Anchorage, Seward, and the Matanuska Sus. Wait, hold on. Matanuska Susatina something. I'm so sorry. Valley area. So sorry. Um, the first of the bodies discovered was found by a construction worker off of Ekletna Road and is referred to as Ekletna Annie and has never been identified, unfortunately.
Ugh.
Then Joanna Messina was discovered in a gravel pit. And in 1982, Sherry Morrow was discovered in a shallow grave near the Nick River. So now Detective Floth knew that he had a serial killer on his hands. So he contacted the one and only FBI agent, John Douglas, which many
I'm reading
people know.
books right now.
He's very well known for his behavioral science and like Criminal Minds, Mindhunter, all that stuff is kind of based off his work and the things he did.
I've read
So he
like
was
3 of his
asked,
books.
it's and this is good. So he was asked to create a profile by Detective Floth, and this is the profile he came up with. Experienced hunter with low self-esteem, history of being rejected by women, would keep souvenirs from his murders, and he said he also might have a stutter.
So like literally him. It like blows my mind how like accurate these profiles are.
Absolutely. It's insane. So Detective Floth researched, and it didn't take him too long until he discovered Hansen and found out that he also had a plane, which is, I'm assuming, the only way to get to these certain areas where these bodies were found. So, like, having a plane, and connecting it to the cold case as well. Like, having a plane just, like, connected him to it more. It, like, solidified the evidence more that it was him. So then on October 27th, 1983, Alaskan officers executed a warrant on Hansen's home, cars, and plane and discovered victims' jewelry, many firearms, and a map thumbtacked above his bed with X's marking where bodies of victims had already been found.
Dude, don't make it so freaking obvious.
There's more to the map. It comes back. So after he was arrested, he refused to confess and denied everything, and then eventually kind of began confessing to his crimes slowly. It's known that he has assaulted over 30 Alaskan women and has murdered at least 17.
Whoa.
Yeah. He pleaded guilty to 4 murder charges. Oh, yeah. And had murdered at least 17.
Jeez. Crazy.
Oh, yeah. He pleaded guilty to 4 murder charges. I'm assuming to avoid the death penalty. I'm not sure. Does Alaska has the death penalty, right?
No clue.
No clue.
On. Okay, can I just say I typed in does Alaska have snakes? Does Alaska have counties? Does Alaska have a state income tax? Does Alaska have polar bears? Does Alaska have summer?
Does Alaska have counties? Yes, it's a state.
No. They don't have the death penalty.
Okay. This was also in the 80s.
It was abolished in 1957.
Okay. So, I guess he just decided to plead guilty then, just because.
Fair trial.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. Because he took a plea bargain. So he was also charged with assault, kidnapping, weapons charges, theft, and insurance fraud. And like part of the plea bargain was that he had to show the investigators where the other bodies were. So he ended up showing investigators 17 grave sites, 12 of which they didn't know about.
Jeez.
In the end, he was sentenced to 461 years in prison without the possibility of parole.
Good.
He died on August 21st, 2014 in Alaska Regional Hospital in Anchorage, Alaska, due to undisclosed lingering health conditions. And now,
I wonder what that means. It could be he got the shit beat out of him and died from his injuries. It could be cancer. It could be a lung disease. It could be a heart condition.
Yeah, I don't know what they're trying to hide. I mean, I know that his wife stayed with him, like, throughout that. Yeah, after he got
I
arrested
wonder if they just
until he
don't
died.
know because they didn't get an autopsy.
That's true. But I do want to take a second and read the names of his known victims, or yeah, all of his victims who've been
Okay.
discovered. So Lisa Futrell, 41, acknowledged, and her body was found with when he confessed. Malai Larson, 28, acknowledged, also found with his help. Sue Luna, 23, acknowledged, body found with his help. Tammy Pedersen, 20, acknowledged, body found with his help. Angela Federn, 24, acknowledged, body found with his help. Teresa Watson, acknowledged, body found with his help. Dylan Sugar Frey, acknowledged, body discovered on August 20th, 1985 by a pilot testing new tires on the sandbar of the Nick River. Paula Goulding, acknowledged, body found. Andrea Fish Altieri, either between 22 and 25. She went missing in December 1981, admitted, but her body was never discovered. Sherry Morrow, 23, admitted, body found. Egludna Annie. And she was killed between November 1979 and June 1980, admitted, body found, and her true identity has never been discovered.
Jeez.
Joanna Mencina, admitted, body found. Horseshoe Harriet, killed late 70s, early 80s, acknowledged, body found with his help. True identity has never been discovered. Roxanne Eastland, 24, missing in 1980, acknowledged, body not found. Celia Beth Van Zantine, 17, denied but suspected because of an X on an aviation map, body found. Megan Emmerich, 17, went missing in 1973, denied but suspected because of an X on the map. And Mary Thill, 22, missing in 1975, denied but suspected because of the X on the map. So, and then the creepiest part of it all is, so they like found all of this out, and then they found out what he actually was doing. So he would lure women in, primarily like prostitutes and sex workers and kind of people of a transient lifestyle, lure them in, get them in his car, and did exactly what he did with his first victim. Cindy was her name. Sorry, just had to make sure I got it right. So basically the same thing he did with Sydney. He would like kidnap them and then fly them out to these deserted areas in Alaska and let them go and have them run and let them think that they were free, and he would hunt them from afar. And it could last days.
Oh my,
at that point.
So fucked.
Yeah. So that's what I meant when I said at the beginning that like the concept of that I was familiar with, like of somebody doing something like that.
Yeah.
Because it's been like, there's a movie that just came out about like people doing that. It has like Emma Roberts in it and other like really famous people.
Oh, okay. So it's like a legit movie. It's not just some.
Oh no. Like it's a real like box office.
Oh, dang.
Whatever.
I've never heard of it.
Hold on, it's about like rich people who like will kidnap not rich people and
that movie,
take them and like let them run around and think that they're free, and then
okay, I know what movie you're talking about.
I'm trying to find the name right now, but like because of stuff like that, like it's depicted in media, so the concept of something like that I'd been familiar with before, but never to this extent. I also do want to thank my sources, Wikipedia, always a good friend, Murderpedia as well, and allthat'sinteresting.com for their help with this case. So yeah, really, really crazy stuff. It's like I was like so emotionally invested. This case was a roller coaster for me to like break apart in my head, because it just has all like, it's, yeah. Is your mind blown at all?
Yeah. Like I said, I think I've heard that before, but I can't pinpoint where. So yeah, I kind of remember it, but like not fully, if that makes sense.
Did I give you a good refresher?
You did. Now I remember.
Yes.
Okay. So my case this week's out of Nebraska. So I thought we'd start off with a little Nebraska trivia to see how much you've been paying attention to the Nebraska things I tell you for the last 4 years.
Oh my God, no.
Oh, yes.
You're gonna publicly humiliate me like this.
All right. There's only a few questions. Why is Lincoln called Lincoln?
Oh, Sara. Abraham Lincoln?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thanks, sweet baby. You never told me that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's not something like, did you know that, like that doesn't come up in our conversations. It's more like, how are you doing? How's life? Like, how's school? Not like, did you know that Lincoln, Nebraska is named after Abraham Lincoln?
All right. What ranking is the Henry Dorley Zoo? Like National Zoo rankings.
Oh, probably like top 3, right?
Yeah, 1 or 2 depending on the year.
Oh, okay.
Remember,
So
I said if you ever come out, I was going to take you to the zoo?
Zoo. And then all the things we were going to do never happened because
Life.
COVID-19.
Or life just got in the way.
And life.
Yeah. All right. Who is Nebraska's daddy?
Oh, the football coach.
Yeah, Scott Frost.
Scott Ross.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you.
What is my favorite bar?
Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue because I have a shirt from there.
Yeah, I got you.
Brothers.
Yes. Doing better than my mom did.
Dude, how do I know all of this information?
All right. Last year, football won the last year, the football team won the national championship. It's before we were born. I'll give you that.
Oh. I don't even know. Like 1990s time?
Yeah, 97.
I was literally about to guess 97 just because you said before we were born, and I was going to be a smart ass and be like, oh, 97, right before we were born.
Oh, you should have been the smart ass.
The only time that being a smart ass was ended up being in my benefit.
I know. All right. My favorite place on campus.
Dunkin' Donuts in the library.
Correct.
Is that really right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay.
Go like 3 times a day. And the best college ever? Why are you thinking about this? This isn't funny.
Oh yeah, this is yours. So, Nebraska.
Thank you. All right. Now we can get into my case.
That was a nice intermission. I passed.
Yeah,
I'm such a good friend.
So my case this week is the disappearance and murder of Sydney Loofe. So this happened in 2017. So I was living in Lincoln, Nebraska at the time. And me and some of my friends, we were like super invested in this.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was, when she disappeared, like it was all over the news. Like you couldn't get away from it. So like it was a huge deal in Nebraska. Like I was updating Twitter like every 20 minutes trying to get like information. So it's a little crazy. So we'll just dive right into it.
Okay.
On November 16th, 2017, Sydney Loofe was reported missing by her family after they couldn't get a hold of her and she didn't show up for her shift at Menards in Lincoln. And Menards is like a Home Depot.
Okay.
So just
oh, sorry, you go.
No, go ahead.
Was she a Nebraska student?
No, but she lived in Lincoln and she was 24.
Oh, okay. So she was from Nebraska.
Yeah. So background on her, she grew up in Nailey, Nebraska, but moved to Lincoln after graduating high school. Overall, pretty normal girl. Nothing really stands out on her background. So on November 14th, either in the super late at night or early morning of November 15th, Loofe's friend got a text saying how Loofe had a good date with a girl that she met on Tinder and they were going out again the next day. And that's the last anyone heard from her. And the last time she was seen was in Wilbur, Nebraska, which is, I think, like 30 miles outside of Lincoln, like a little, not too far out.
Okay.
So, like I said, her picture was, like, all over. Like, they reported her missing within 24 hours. Like, she was all over. It was, like, a big case. And I was in a criminology class when this happened. Like, I was taking one. And our professor was a sheriff from one of the neighboring counties. So he would like update us. Like we could ask him any question about the case, and if he could tell us, he would like tell us and like all this stuff. So like we were like my class was like really informed, and we kind of had like some insider knowledge about what was going on.
That's
That wasn't
really
like,
interesting.
yeah, he was a cool guy. We got to see dead bodies,
Oh,
like pictures
lovely.
of dead crime scenes with dead bodies.
Yeah, you should make sure you add pictures in
Yes.
front of that.
Pictures of dead bodies at crime scenes.
Not just like chilling
Yeah, no,
at a
not like,
funeral
oh,
home.
let's go to the morgue at like downtown. Like, no, it was pictures.
There are like funeral home like training that you have to do. Like when people in morgues like prep bodies for funerals, like do you have to go through training for that?
I mean, I would assume, I would hope so.
Like imagine what if it's like a residential, like for medical, like where the like doctor walks around and there's like a big group of people following with like
Oh
little
my God.
clipboards. I just like
yeah.
he's like, and now we do the eyeshadow. Like
I don't know. That's a good question. I feel like there is training because like you don't want some rando off the street like
yeah.
prepping your grandpa.
Yeah. No, I want James Charles to do my makeup when I die.
Relatable. So right now, all the investigators know that she's a missing person. She went on a date with this girl, and she was last seen in Wilbur, Nebraska.
Okay.
So this is actually pretty good about how they found out who she went on a date with. So Sydney Loofe's friend set up like a fake Tinder profile and put in all the settings and stuff to match kind of where the girl was from that Sydney was last seen with and the age and all that. And so they matched up with a girl called Audrey, that was a fake name, and convinced her to give her phone number, which that phone number was given to the cops and traced back to Bailey Boswell, 24, and Aubrey Trail, 51.
Wow.
And those two were roommates, and they were also boyfriend-girlfriend.
Okay.
So because of this, they were both quickly called persons of interest in the case.
Mm-hmm.
So they both have a criminal past. Trail more than Boswell. Trail has been convicted of second-degree forgery and issuing a bad check.
Oh my gosh.
And Boswell, just small marijuana possession, and she had a warrant out though for failing to appear in court. So based off this, like she's still a missing person. They don't find her body for like a week and a half. So they start looking for Loofe in Saline County, where Wilbur is, and in Gage County. I think it's a neighboring county, because her cell phone was last pinged in Saline near Wilbur. Okay, so this is like where it starts to get weird, and like I'm gonna do my best because it starts not making total sense.
Okay.
Like this is why like it's not a normal like we killed her and that's the end of the story.
Yeah.
Okay. So like I said, this point her body's still missing. They don't know where she is. This is all happening within a few days, and they don't find her body until beginning of December. So on November 29th, Boswell and Trail record a video like of them in their car explaining what happened. It's like a really ominous video. Boswell, she's in a black hoodie with like big sunglasses, and Trail's like sort of on the side of the video, but like not fully in the video. So
weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. It was like 9 minutes too.
What do they talk about in it?
So they basically tell their side of the story, air quotes. So basically, Trail has been saying, he goes, we've been in contact with the Lincoln Police Department to tell them what we know, and we're cooperating, right? So then Boswell says that she went on 2 dates with Loofe, where on both they drove around and smoked pot. And that on November 15th, she dropped Loofe off at her friend's house, but hasn't heard from her since.
Okay.
So this is the part that's really fucked, because at this point she was dead.
Okay.
Both Trail and Boswell said they hope they find Loofe soon, and that she's sorry she couldn't be with her family for Thanksgiving.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
That's so horrible to say when you know,
I know. It's like
what you did.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So at this point, it's like the last few days of November. They're not charged with murder yet, but they're picked up down in Branson, Missouri, And soon after that, they're charged with transporting stolen goods from Kansas to Nebraska on like a gold coin selling scheme or something. And they pled guilty and they were both sentenced to jail.
Okay.
So at least they're in jail and they're off the streets. So
Yeah.
the cops and the prosecutors have time to get a really good investigate and make a really good case for them to be charged.
Yeah, and they can't hurt anybody else.
Exactly. So on December 4th and 5th, Sydney's body was found in Clay County, which is about 60 miles from where she was last seen. She was cut up and found in multiple trash bags that were thrown off a rural road.
Oh my God.
So at this point, they're almost guaranteed that Boswell and Trail are responsible for this.
Yeah.
But like I said, they have time to make their case. They're in jail, so they can't hurt anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So the cops start looking into them. So after a little more digging, they found security footage of the pair in a Home Depot in Lincoln buying tools and supplies that were likely used in her dismemberment and disposal on early morning of November 15th. So the day before she was killed. Well, the day after she was killed, I guess. Depending the timeline about what day she was killed, like on the edge, on November 14th or 15th is a little fuzzy.
Mm-hmm.
So they have Tinder messages from Loofe and Boswell planning to meet up on November 15th, like the next day, but obviously they never did. So the cops also went to Trail and Boswell's basement apartment in Wilbur, Nebraska, and the cops noticed like the walls were all clean and wiped down, and the landlord told them that he smelled heavy bleach from the apartment. So
get a lanolol test in there.
Yeah. So at this point, no one's charged yet. It's still beginning of December. So, but they're talking to Trail, and Trail's very outspoken about what happened. Like, he calls the Omaha World-Herald newspaper and the Lincoln Journal-Star from jail before he's even charged, and tells them. Yeah.
So attention whore.
Yeah, he's very. Oh, it gets worse about his attention seeking. So when he's talking to the cops, like I said before, he's even charged. Yeah. He admitted that he strangled her to death with an extension cord.
Okay.
Okay, so one phone call they have from jail, like I said, he talked to newspapers, is to the Lincoln Journal-Star, that he said he killed Loofe in a sex game gone wrong, that he was solely responsible, and it was an accident. Like, he accidentally strangled her to death.
Sus. Super sus.
So, in a second call to the Omaha World-Herald, Trail said that Loofe took part in a sex fantasy with himself and two other women, but Boswell was not part of it as she was passed out on drugs, and it just went too far.
So basically, he's just trying to put all the blame on himself and get her off.
Yeah. So throughout the whole entire time, up until the trial, he says it's just a sex fantasy gone wrong, kind of thing. It just was an accident. There's two other girls there. There's a weird sex fantasy that went wrong, and he flat out said, I deserve this death penalty for what I did. So mid-June 2018, so about 6 months later, in mid-June 2018, Boswell and Trail were both charged with first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and unlawful disposal of human remains.
Okay. Good.
So now we're going to go through Trail's trial. So his trial was in Wilbur, Nebraska, and Saline County, where the murder took place. Mm-hmm. His trial was over the summer of 2019, so almost a full year after they were charged.
Okay.
So he did plead guilty on improper disposal of human remains, and prosecutors thought this was so they wouldn't have to see the dump site and autopsy photos during the trial. So what came out at the trial? So this is all what happened in the trial. So prosecutors claimed that all the sex stuff was a lie and they planned on killing Loofe and it wasn't an accident.
Yeah.
So during the second, this is like literally like someone texted me this and was like, you have to go on like the World Herald right now and like watch the video on their front page.
Okay.
So during the second week of trial, Trail yelled, "Bailey is innocent and I curse you all," and then slashed his throat with a razor blade.
In the courtroom?
In the courtroom, there's video. But he survived.
Somehow? What?
Yeah. So this like literally only delayed the trial by like a few days.
Did nothing.
And then he took the stand in his own defense.
Oh my God.
So he says everything he told prosecutors and the cops before was a total lie.
Of course.
There wasn't a sex fantasy with the two other girls.
Mm-hmm.
And it was when she died, it was just him and Boswell in the room. And he accidentally killed her while consensually strangling her with an extension cord. And then he also says he knew Loofe for several months. So that kind of brings up to the fact that the prosecutors were saying that it was premeditated.
Mm-hmm.
So a few days later, the jury deliberates. He's guilty on first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. And in Nebraska, first-degree murder charge will get you're up for the death penalty.
Okay.
So he's still awaiting sentencing to see if he gets the death penalty.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of keeps getting delayed, so I'm not exactly sure when that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So for Bailey Boswell, her trial still hasn't happened and keeps getting delayed.
Because of COVID or?
Yeah, and then so her trial was moved to central Nebraska, and so their trials are in these smaller counties, smaller courtrooms. So I think her trial was delayed because there was a family emergency with someone in the court.
Okay.
Because like I said, it's not in Lincoln or Omaha, so it's not like in a big courthouse kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in these smaller populated areas. So
Did they move the case out there for like jury selection?
Yeah, for jury reasons, because on Trail's case, like it took a really long time to get jury selection because of people not being impartial.
Yeah, because everyone knew about it at that point.
So they moved her case out to central Nebraska, and it's scheduled to start in September.
Wow.
And she's pled not guilty on all charges, so she'll be out for those 3. So she is convicted but still awaiting trial. So we don't know what hers entails, but
you mean charged but still awaiting trial?
Yeah, sorry, charged but still awaiting trial. And then if she's convicted of first-degree murder, she's also up for the death penalty.
Good.
So it's still kind of fuzzy, truly, what happened. She's really not talking. Trail's the only one that talked.
Yeah.
So we don't know her side.
And, like, I don't really buy the whole, like, it was consensual. Like, she let me put an extension cord around her neck consensually.
No,
like, nobody does that.
Her Sydney Loofe's family basically said, like, we really doubt that she would have sex with, like, them. And if anything, there was no consensual, and there was no evidence of sexual assault or having sex on her autopsy.
But it's just hard for me to wrap my head around this because there's no, like, reason. They didn't have, could there have been, like, personal beef that nobody is talking about? Or, like there's no reason to, like, plan to go out and do this horrific act to this girl for no reason.
I couldn't find if there was actual evidence that Trail knew Sydney before.
Okay.
So it's just based off what he said.
And that's obviously only so reliable.
Yeah, considering he's lied for almost 1.5 years about what happened.
Yeah. And is an attention seeker, clearly.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, he slashed his own throat in court.
Oh my gosh. I'm glad that didn't work out the way he thought it would. Yep.
So I don't know if he's still in Saline County prison, but he's most likely in Lincoln where all the men's jails are. So
wow. Well, you'll have to keep us updated as things start to reopen.
I will. I mean, I've been following this case since the beginning. It's just taken one turn after the other. So
it's so insane too that, like, you have the personal aspect of it having been there.
Yeah, and like I just remember it was like I said, it was all over social media for us, like Facebook and Twitter, Instagram. I was reading the Omaha World Herald 3 times a day, trying to read what was going on and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of people were,
Mm-hmm.
because crime like this doesn't happen there.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. So definitely want to thank my sources, the Omaha World Herald. They've done a really great job covering this case. The Washington Post, the Fremont Tribune, People Magazine, the Kearney Hub, Oxygen, the Daily Beast, NET Nebraska, and the Lincoln Journal-Star. So we'll see where this case goes. We'll see if he actually gets the death penalty. He's not in great health anyways, so he might die before anything happens.
Well, either way, he's been convicted, so at least there's the justice in that part for him.
Mm-hmm.
She still needs to be convicted and needs to rot in prison.
And I don't see any way that she wouldn't be convicted.
Yeah, me neither.
So yeah, that's that. That's the Sydney Loofe case.
Awesome, that was a good one.
Thank you.
We had some pretty crazy cases this week.
Yeah. Do you know what state you want to do for next week?
I don't. I was so into this one that I haven't started to think about it. I don't know. Maybe I'll do something East Coast based or
yeah. I have no clue what I'm doing either. So.
Maybe we should do a randomizer, plug it into a computer.
Ooh, that might be good. Yeah, we could do that.
But we just have to take out Alaska, Nebraska. That rhymes.
Or we'll just redo it if one of those states come out.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Well, as always,
thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you for listening. As always, you can follow us on Twitter at CWATC podcast and on Instagram at Coffee, Wine, and True Crime Podcast. And stay with us to hear a quick promo from another great true crime podcast, Cold Brew True Crime Podcast.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Hope you enjoy.
Have a good week. We'll see you next time.
Have a good week.